Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. My name's Tim and I'm from the TechBytes blogazine, and with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website.
It's Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his creeper bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the
Right, so hello and welcome to TechBytes audiocast episode 28 for the 30th of January 2011. It seems like an age since we last did a show, and probably mostly my fault because of commitments at work and personal issues which have taken up our time. But we're going to start today with a very Microsoft theme. So the good news is Gordon's here and so's Roy, and it's business as usual. So Roy, over to you, and we'll start off with our first Microsoft-themed subject.
Yeah, I think it's kind of agreed upon. It's been kind of agreed upon that we could talk about Microsoft's results as of late because they reported, I think, on Thursday the results. One interesting thing that happened, and I'm not sure many people have heard about it, is their website had been hacked before they formally released the results. So some firm, I think it's something to do with analysts as well. It's not really an underworld type of thing. Had managed to get hold of the results before they were released, which of course means they could play the market and they could actually use inside information to sell or to buy some stocks. What actually happened, of course, at the end is Microsoft stock fell and the following day it fell again. And the reason it fell is because despite what Microsoft wants to claim to be best quote forever and all that malarkey is that first of all the sales of Windows, or I think the revenue of Windows to be more precise, was down about 30% year to year. That's pretty major, and that's despite the fact that, as we covered before, I think in the previous show, Microsoft actually cheats on the numbers specifically with Windows. At least that's what we know about. They could actually be doing this in other divisions as well. They also lost $500 million in a single quarter. $500 million and something like 520, 530 just in the online division. So what they claim to be the future and something they have to evolve to is just a complete money drain, as far as we can tell. And that's pretty major. One more thing I just wanted to add is, as we talk about the declining sales of Windows, we have some news from China, and the news from China comes from Microsoft itself. Microsoft warns about I think their wording was something about the attach rate. They have this phrase where they talk about the computer being supposedly attached to an operating system, which is a kind of a nice word for saying basically, settled or bundled with Windows, even though the client does not actually require a license for Windows. And in China, on the face of it, either people buy a computer without any operating system, or they just buy a computer with Linux on it, and that's a really good sign as well. That's what based on the numbers, you can probably tell what's happening, and that is Windows continues to lose dominance. And Windows, being the common carrier for all kinds of applications like Office, is the type of thing once Windows falls, all kinds of things which are chained onto it will also lose ground.
I'm pleased you mentioned Office because I was looking at the figures from Business Insider, and they asked the question, has any company lost as much money online as Microsoft? And they give the figures as a trading four-quarter loss of $2.5 billion, which they describe as being simply astounding for the losses online. They also mention Microsoft Office, and I'll just quote the actual statement here. It says the business division revenue grew from customers, grew 471 million or 49% from last year, and nearly all of that growth is coming from Office. So it seems that, well, myself especially, saying that Office was one of the few cash cows that Microsoft had remaining, would seem to be quite true. Sorry, Roy, is there anything else you wanted to add on that? Because I was briefly going to say, when we're talking about losses and profits, and stuff,
We talked about Office. In this case, Office, of course, kind of gets tied up with things like OXML and all these scandals which involve bribes and all of that a few years ago. I think lots of people don't remember what Microsoft was doing for Office. But one of the things they do try and do is to compete with Google online, because increasingly people don't have the desire to go out and to buy Office or to buy a license for Office to download the thing. What they do is they go to a certain website which allows them to edit documents and to print documents. Now Google has got this new product which I think is in beta now, and that's maybe called Google Print, or Google something to do with printing, or printing over the web, or I think they call it printing in the cloud, or use some kind of marketing buzz kind of thing. Anyway, with the printing thing and with the online Office, which of course you can take anywhere you want and you can pass it to friends instead of an attachment in an email, you can send them an address and work in collaboration with other people on the same document. Microsoft has been trying to catch up with that using what it used to call BPOS, which is an acronym. It sounds better when you expand the acronym, obviously. It sounds like BPOS, and you can imagine what POS stands for in most people's minds. They changed the name to Office 365 more recently, which is supposed to kind of tell you, it's up online 365 days a year, which of course it isn't, because Microsoft's so-called cloud, or BPOS, it's down every other month, and it's sometimes down for many hours. What actually happened, that's pretty major, the vice president at Microsoft who's responsible for Office 365 has just left the company. And he claims to have gone through retirement. And he's only been in Microsoft for about 21 years. I think 21 years is the exact number. And he's quite a young person. So he says, well, I'm retiring, when he's the one who's supposed to lead Office to the future direction, to something that's going to be competitive with Google. And I think that's a major, major sign. Mainly, I think the only main two people I can think of who still exist in Microsoft and actually stayed in Microsoft as managers for a long time are Craig Mundy and Steve Ballmer, of course, who's always going to be at Microsoft on the face of it. And they too, I think one of them might leave maybe this year. I don't really know how the company is still actually staying coordinated. I don't think it does stay coordinated. We see it in the sales of Windows Phone 7. I think that's a subject we're going to bring up later. It's completely disastrous. It's not really like, Kin disastrous, Kin with a trademark of what it means to be an epic fail. But it's extremely atrocious for considering how much they spend promoting this thing and trying to push it to developers, and actually even paying for developers to develop for it. It's quite serious.
Sorry, Gordon, we're cutting you out there. Did you have any views on Microsoft's online strategy, or indeed Office?
I think he's been having connection issue. I just received a message from him.
I don't know if it's worth me talking or not. I've not been able to hear anything for the last 5 minutes or so, because it's been really garbled at my end. Just a quick thing, because I can't hear any feedback. Just a quick thing. Google product in beta? You don't say. Surely not. It can't be true. They never do anything like that.
It's true.
The thing with the Windows, with the licensing cost in Windows, when you buy a PC, and obviously in most people's cases it comes with Windows, the cost of the PC, the average PC, has went right down year on year on year. You can now get a pretty damn good PC for under $500. You could never do that 10 years ago. So even with the sort of the higher end, the regular sort of desktop or laptop end grade, or the professional grade of PC, the price-wise, Microsoft have to be taking a hit on that, compared to, 10 years ago they could easily shove £200 worth of Microsoft Office license or Windows license into the price. Try putting that 200 quid into the cost of a £500 laptop. You can't do it. So they're obviously taking a hit as each year goes on, they obviously take a hit there. But I think more and more people are starting to realise that they're used to Office, well, they're used to Microsoft Office, they're used to all the quirks that go with that. They might think they need